Greetings everyone, and a warm welcome back to this Fire Emblem Three Houses fanfiction. I would like to thank you all for making the previous videos reach the collective 2,000 likes goal. Without your support, none of this would be possible, and I apologize for taking such a long time to continue this WhatIf story, but I hope that you enjoy what I have in store. If you are new to this channel or haven't watched the previous episodes, please follow the links in the description to be all caught up with the events that transpired. And with that out of the way, let us proceed. When we last left off, the truth concerning Byleth acting as a conduit for Sopha's soul had come to light, and the Holy Tomb was in the process of being raided by the Imperial Army. Today's fanfiction will follow the chronicles of Crimson Flower, as Edelgard fights to free Fodlan from the dogmatic rule of the Church. It should be noted that for this part and the remaining storylines, there are specific factors that shall remain consistent across all narratives. 1. The following units will align themselves with Byleth and Sitri regardless of their prior affiliation, those being Bernadetta, Mercedes, Marianne, all of the Ashen Wolves, along with Manuela, Hanneman, Shamir, and Alois. The remaining participants shall be contextually dependent. 2. Whatever narrative-exclusive conversations took place during the respective pre-TimeSkip storylines will factor into the events of the corresponding fanfictions, including but not limited to Edelgard's coronation ceremony and Dimitri stumbling upon the dagger that was found after the Flame Emperor and Agarthans fled the scene. 3. Every storyline will incorporate the 5-year time skip. However, the events that transpire leading up to such a crucial plot point will vary, as is the case of writing a fanfiction. Additionally, I would like to thank Azura Abysswalker for providing several ideas regarding a multitude of plot points throughout this Crimson Flower rewrite, and to TheKingBahamut for helping me review and proofread the script. Please be sure to give my boys some love over on their social media pages. And with all that cleared up, enjoy everybody. As the Imperial Army emerges within the Holy Tomb, the collective ensemble is shocked by their sudden appearance. Edelgard steps forth and proclaims herself to be the Flame Emperor. Her Highness orders her subordinates to seize the crest stones while making it clear that she bears no ill will towards her classmates, urging them not to intervene, and informing the professor that she cut this path and intends to follow it. She then turns to Sitri, and her expression changes to that of sorrow as she utters the words,
"I'm sorry."
Amongst all the confusion, Rhea assumes control and orders the party to defeat the Imperial Army and Edelgard. The Black Eagles are in disbelief about these sudden revelations, and Byleth is extremely conflicted on how to proceed. The recent disclosure regarding Rhea's motives remain fresh in her mind, with Sitri being just as unsure about what course of action to take. Seth steps forth to reassure the professor, Sitri, and the students that despite their feelings on the matter, they mustn't let the Imperial Army seize the crest stones. Doing so could be catastrophic if fallen into the wrong hands, and so the professor rallies the Black Eagles to defeat the Imperial Army and stop Edelgard, as is done so in canon. Once the battle has concluded, Rhea condemns the young lady for turning against the church, with Seth also chiming in that this is a grave offense. Rhea then orders Byleth to kill Edelgard, and though Seth remains silent, he is shocked at Rhea's drastic declaration. Truthfully, Byleth feels slightly betrayed by Edelgard's hidden agenda, yet she holds the Emperor very close to her heart, given all they have shared and experienced as both sensei and friend. Further complicating the issue is that Rhea's plan to replace Byleth's soul with that of Sophis has caused a rift in their relationship. Unsure of how to proceed, the Enlightened One turns to Sitri, who simply smiles and puts her hand on Byleth's shoulder, telling her to listen to her heart. And so, with a deep breath, Byleth begins to think. The professor then opens her eyes and marches towards Edelgard, turning to shield the Emperor from the Archbishop. And before Rhea can so much as glare at Byleth, Sitri moves to follow her daughter, and also stands between Rhea and Edelgard. Everyone is in shock and awe at this course of action, but the silence is soon broken by Her Highness.
"My teacher! Lady Sitri, thank you. I never thought either of you would... No, now isn't the time for doubts. I must steel myself for the adversity which is to come.
Words cannot properly express my gratitude, Professor. You too, Lady Sitri. You have my undying thanks.
Setheth and Flane step forward to protest.
Professor, you cannot be serious. Please reconsider your actions. Following Edelgard will only lead to disaster. And you, Sitri, how can a holy woman such as yourself be aligned with this villainy and turn your back on the goddess?
I will never abandon my students, Setheth. They each hold a special place in my heart, and I refuse to stand idle as you condemn Edelgard to death. The Church of Steros is meant to be a beacon of hope and guidance for the people of Fodlan. Yet without hesitation, the Archbishop has no quarrel executing a young woman without any sort of trial. Why would I fight for such a ruthless creature, one who had no remorse, using me as if I were a mere puppet? Had you and Mother not intervened, I could have died.
Setheth grimaces, for he feels betrayed by the Professor's actions, but her words do ring true, and he too is ashamed at Rhea's radical declaration and devious intentions.
Please, don't do this, Professor. Siding with Edelgard will only lead to more sorrow and fighting. I do not wish for us to be enemies. You and Lady Sitri are like family to me, and I could never live with myself were I to bring harm to either of you.
I'm so sorry, Flane. I feel just as strongly about you, Setheth and Rhea. I will forever love and cherish you all. Yet I shall never abandon my own daughter. And if Byleth wishes to follow Edelgard, then my place is with the Empire too.
A torrent of emotions engulfs the Holy Tomb, as the situation has become both sullen and delicate. All this time, Rhea hasn't said a word, but soon everyone's attention turns towards the Archbishop, as her breathing becomes heavy and fierce.
No. No! This isn't how it's supposed to be! My mother should be standing by my side to purge the likes of Edelgard and her disgusting associates from this earth. Your foul presence soils the Holy Tomb. I gave both of you life and loved you as if you were my own kin, yet you dare turn your back against me and side with my enemies? I shall not allow the power of the goddess to remain within such a wretched failure. I have passed judgment, and now I shall rip your chest open and take back your heart myself!
Overcome with rage, Rhea transforms into the Immaculate One and begins to lash out like a wild beast, causing all of the Black Eagles to retreat. During her outburst, Rhea carelessly swipes at Setheth and Flane, only being inches away from causing them harm. After the Empire's forces have withdrawn, Setheth is eventually able to bring Rhea to her senses, but this display of madness combined with her duplicity causes the seeds of doubt to exacerbate within the two children of the goddess. The Black Eagles make haste to Edelgard's temporary base. Her Highness is then quick to declare war against the Church, with the Ashen Wolves, Manuela, Hanneman, Shamir, and Alois all defecting to fight alongside the Professor. Marianne and Mercedes also join the Empire, which comes as a significant shock to the group. The two of them have their own reasons for siding with the Empire, though they primarily wish to stay beside Lady Sitri, for they have grown significantly close to Byleth's mother as if she were family. After giving a rousing speech to the Black Eagle strike force, Edelgard later meets the Professor and Sitri in private.
Professor, Lady Sitri, if I may be so blunt, I was shocked at your decision to come to my aid. The war I'm about to wage will be rife with bloodshed and sorrow. Even if the Kingdom and Alliance do not intervene, there will be no avoiding a huge number of casualties. Therefore, I must ask, are you happy with your choice to stand by my side? Despite what happened in the Holy Tomb, you can still walk away from all this. The path I'm treading leads to the death of the Archbishop. Can you live with that?
To tell you the truth, Your Highness, I detest war and wish for things to be resolved peacefully. But I'm not blind to the reality around me. I've only been granted new life for a short time. The Church has done a great deal of good and will forever be my home. However, the suffering that has occurred at their hands cannot be allowed to continue. Furthermore, I don't foresee Rhea choosing to give up without a fight, especially after we turned against her.
I'll admit, I was shocked to learn that you were the Flame Emperor, but in all the time that I've been your professor, I've witnessed you grow into an outstanding young woman. I truly believe in your desire to see Fodlan change. All of the Black Eagles believe in you, Edelgard. Therefore, I too will place my faith and trusts in your resolve. If this path leads to bringing Rhea to justice, then I'm with you to the very end.
Edelgard's face begins to soften and become flustered, being so moved by their words, for Her Highness was certain in her assumption that she would be fighting this war alone. Even with her steadfast resolve, the thought of bringing harm to the Professor and especially Sitri was arduous. This sentiment is shared by both mother and daughter, though Sitri is upset that Byleth would speak so callously about taking down Rhea. Throughout the 2 weeks leading up to the war, everyone steels themselves for the battle ahead, discussing their feelings on the upcoming predicament concerning Her Highness, the Church, and the remaining students/allies whom they will likely face as enemies. As dusk creeps in on the eve of the fated battle, Sitri makes her way to Edelgard's quarters and knocks on her door. The Emperor is surprised to see Sitri this late in the evening, but welcomes her in and once again thanks Byleth's mother for everything she has done.
You're more than welcome, Your Highness. Though my reason for seeking your audience at this hour is to ask a favor of you, if you please.
Lady Sitri, what is it you desire?
Sitri inhales heavily and gently holds Edelgard's hands.
I know this war will not end until Rhea either surrenders or dies, and I doubt she shall be willing to yield. Yet despite the discovery that took place at the Holy Tomb damaging my faith and trust in the Archbishop, I cannot bring myself to loathe Rhea. She granted me life twice over and treated me with such kindness. So when we set out for Garrigmach tomorrow, may I ask of you to please try and seek some form of truce with her?
Edelgard looks down and exhales. It's evidently clear that attempting to reason with Rhea wasn't an idea worth humouring, yet feeling the warmth of Sitri's hands against her own and looking up to see such vulnerability in her eyes tugs at Edelgard's heart in a way that only the Professor and her mother can.
With all due respect, Lady Sitri, I do not foresee any aftermath of this war where the Archbishop lives. Alone, she is far too powerful and could turn the tides of war in her favor within seconds. I doubt she would wish to change her ways, knowing she cannot easily be bested. Compounding the issues is that so long as she draws breath, many of her followers will forever remain loyal to the Archbishop and her dogmatic rule. I'm sorry, Sitri, but perhaps the future I seek to create has no place for the Immaculate One.
I understand. I had a feeling that this was nothing more than a naive desire. But after losing Jeralt and Byleth almost being taken from me, I'm not sure if I could bear to lose Rhea too. She may have grown to despise myself and my daughter, but my love for the Archbishop will be forever embedded into my heart.
Upon hearing Sitri's plea, Edelgard feels a rush of guilt ensnare her soul. Not only is Rhea's death going to be a huge blow to this maiden, but despite not being directly involved in the incident, she does feel a level of responsibility for Jeralt's death, a price she can never begin to repay Sitri or Byleth for what she has inadvertently stolen from them.
Forgive me, Sitri. I failed to consider the toll these recent events must be taking on your well-being. Suffice to say, the past few months have been difficult, almost cruel to you and the Professor. Yet, here you stand, full of love and hope. To be honest, I'm rather envious that the Professor has such a beautiful and affectionate woman as their mother.
Sitri is caught off guard by Edelgard's words and begins to blush, with the Emperor becoming just as flustered at her own empathy.
I can't make any promises regarding the forthcoming battle, but I swear to you that I shall first seek a peace talk with Rhea. It's the least I can do for you, Lady Sitri.
Sitri perks up upon hearing Edelgard's decision and embraces the Emperor warmly, thanking her for indulging this widow's fleeting request. Edelgard stiffens up as Sitri wraps her arms around the Emperor, but slowly lets her body go limp and returns the gesture. Being consumed by Sitri's warmth and tenderness fills Edelgard's heart with emotions she has long since forgotten. Though the embrace lasts only a few seconds, every moment of this respite feels like an eternity, thinking back to a time long past when she too knew what it was like to experience love. The next day, Edelgard's army marches upon Garrigmach Monastery. Everyone prepares themselves for battle, but before the order to attack is given, Edelgard stands at the foot of Garrigmach and calls out to Rhea. She condemns the Archbishop for her crimes against humanity, making it clear that they have every reason to cut her down. Her Highness then pauses for a moment, only to announce that she is offering the chance for a peace talk in the hopes of ending the conflict before it starts and rebuilding Fodlan for the better. Both armies are taken back by this proclamation, with gossip and chatter quickly spreading amongst the students. Even some of the knights aren't sure what to think. At the peak of Garrick Mark stands Rhea, Sethith, Dimitri, and Claude, all of which have joined forces to repel the Empire, but weren't expecting Edelgard to so much as suggest any form of negotiation.
To think that such a vile woman would seek such a peaceful resolution after all she has done. Foolish child! Her crimes against the church and the goddess shall never be forgiven. She is far too dangerous to be kept alive.
With all due respect, Archbishop, Edelgard's methods are certainly too extreme for my taste, especially declaring war so suddenly. But if she's offering a peace talk, it wouldn't hurt to at least hear her out. I think we shouldn't ignore such an opportunity, especially as we weren't given much time to prepare for a battle of this magnitude.
As much as I loathe the Emperor, I am in agreement with Claude. It would be of significant benefit to attempt any form of concession before engaging in conflict. Perhaps there is a chance we can come to a temporary truce. We may yet be able to persuade the Professor and Lady Sitri to reconsider their allegiance. At the very least, it could grant us more time to better prepare ourselves. I doubt we're going to happen upon such favorable circumstances again, Archbishop.
What utter nonsense! As if that wretch would ever be true to her word and seek peace after all that has transpired. I wouldn't be surprised if this supposedly innocent motion was little more than a ploy to lure us into a trap. Archbishop, we should destroy Edelgard here and now, along with anyone else who has the audacity to rally behind such filth.
Well said, young prince. Let it be known that I will never relent until Edelgard has burned in the flames of hell. Issue the knights to begin their attack. Bring me the head of the traitorous Hresvelg.
Dimitri grins sadistically at the thought of removing Edelgard's head from her shoulders, while Claude and Sethith are equally disappointed in Rhea's decision. The two of them share a glance, with the same look of contentment in their eyes, yet they will fight alongside the Archbishop regardless. As the Knights of Seros begin to march towards the Empire's forces, Edelgard sighs heavily. Knowing that this outcome was inevitable, she turns to Sitri, apologizing that peace is no longer an option. Sitri thanks Edelgard for her efforts and warmly tells her that choosing to do so despite being inherently futile is proof that she has the makings of a great leader. Hearing such praise and affection from Sitri has a profound effect on Edelgard. This woman has every right to hate her highness, yet she continually sees the best in her, causing the Emperor to become helplessly vulnerable around Byleth's mother. But now is not the time for tenderness, for an invigorated Edelgard issues the order to attack the monastery. And so, the battle takes place and proceeds as it does in canon. The major changes commence as the Empire is preparing to breach the gate, which Sethith and Flayn are defending, the former clashing blades with Byleth.
Traitor! I will not forgive you for turning on Rhea. After everything the Archbishop has done for you and your mother, you dare side with a tyrant who wishes to bathe Fodlan red with the blood of innocents?
You speak of treachery, yet Rhea was the one who planned to use me as a mere puppet so as to bring back a long-since dead deity. A course of action, need I remind you? You yourself reprimanded. How can you accuse me of treason when Rhea has been lying to us from the very start? You claim that I am siding with a tyrant, yet the Archbishop completely ignored Edelgard's offer for negotiations. Back at the Holy Tomb, her outburst put all our lives in jeopardy, even yours in flames.
The two of them go back and forth about the subject as they fight, causing the doubt and internal conflict to bolster within Sethith. On the other side of the field, Flayn is busy defending her post, but her allies are steadily incapacitated, and she is all that remains. Just as she is backed into a corner, the Empire soldiers stand down and Sitri steps into Flayn's line of sight, causing the child to tremble as her knees become weak and her eyes start watering. As Sitri moves towards the young lady, Flayn struggles to keep her emotions in check. Eventually, Sitri is only a few feet away from Flayn, and her legs give way as she starts to sob uncontrollably.
I can't do this. Dimitri, I can't. I won't fight you. I could never live with myself were I to cause you or the Professor harm. I love you and owe you both my life. Why does it have to be this way?
Sitri kneels down and hugs Flame tightly.
It's going to be all right, my dear Flame. You don't have to fight, and I would never do anything to hurt you, little one. You, Sitri, Rhea, I will always love you. Even when the world tries to tear us apart, I shall forever cherish our time together.
As Flame's sobbing becomes louder and louder, Sefef hears his daughter and looks towards her direction, seeing her wrapped in Sitri's arms as she cradles his child. This sight causes Sefef to drop his guard and become fixated on the two of them, being reminded of his departed wife and the way she held Flame all those years ago. During this distraction, one of the Empire's soldiers goes to strike Sefef, but Byleth quickly deflects their attack. Sefef comes to his senses right as the professor saves his life, as she ushers him to go to Flame. Chihol, while ultimately bitter about the situation, makes haste towards Sethlin. As he lands and takes his daughter into his arms, he informs her that they will retreat inside Garrick Mark for now. He then turns to Sitri, ready to berate her for what she's done. But as soon as he locks eyes with this maiden, he sees the same love, concern, devotion and care that echoed through the eyes of his departed wife. Sefef grits his teeth in frustration, but Sitri simply smiles and tells him to look after Flame. Sefef nods and utters 2 words,
Thank you.
before retreating into Garrick Mark, at which point the gates open and the Empire begins to converge on Rhea. Eventually, Edelgard and Rhea come face to face, with Byleth ready to assist the Emperor, but is intercepted by Dimitri. The young prince is furious and seeks to kill Edelgard, but cannot overwhelm the professor.
To think that you would turn your back on the church and the rest of Fodlan. Why? Why would you side with that monster, Professor? Why would you choose to walk this savage, bloody path? I cannot shake this feeling of regret. Regret that I must kill you now.
I regret to inform you that I choose this path because Edelgard and the rest of the Black Eagles are like family to me, much akin to how you feel about your fellow Blue Lions. I am their professor and will stay by their side to the very end. We all believe in the future Edelgard wishes to build. A new Fodlan where everyone can be free to live the life they want, regardless of their background, social standing, or whether they bear a crest. I'm sure some of your classmates can sympathize.
You speak of a bright future, yet you would align yourself with this demon. She will cause unfathomable bloodshed throughout Fodlan. No amount of peace can come from Edelgard's actions.
Isn't that ironic? Her Highness offered a truce, yet Rhea responded with war, no doubt at your suggestion. You accuse Edelgard of being a demon, yet I saw with my own eyes Rhea's true form, that of a hideous beast who nearly killed us all at the Holy Tomb. And that was after she lied to me and tried to erase my soul and replace it with that of the goddess. Such a monster should not be permitted to plague Fodlan any longer.
Bah! What nonsense you speak! I won't waste my time indulging in the ramblings of a liar and a lunatic. Stand down, Professor, or I will cut you down.
Byleth can no longer tolerate trying to reason with Dimitri. She quickly defeats the prince, with the young man attempting to fight back, but to no avail. While he is incapacitated, Byleth takes this time to scold His Highness.
Dimitri, you disappoint me. It's undoubtedly clear that you will never side with the Empire, or remain neutral in this state of affairs. Regardless which side comes out victorious, your actions today are shameful. As the future king of Fargus, you ought to lead a better example. A king should not act like an animal, blinded by hatred and revenge.
You have no right to condemn my conduct. After all, you proclaimed to support Edelgard so as to change Fodlan. But when you began making accusations about the Archbishop, it was abundantly clear that you desired to kill Rhea above all. It seems you are just as much of an animal as I am, Professor.
His Highness's words strike a chord with Byleth. Upon reflection, The thought of Rhea's death has been a major driving force in her decision-making the moment the truth about her intentions were made clear. The professor thinks back to how concerned Sitri looked after she made light of ending Rhea's life. Byleth takes this moment to contemplate her feelings on the matter and wonder if killing Rhea is truly the only option. During this time, Seiros has been bested by Edelgard, having both sustained significant injuries during their battle. The Archbishop will not relent, and Edelgard is just as steadfast, yet struggles to remain poised. Just then, Sitri runs over and begins to heal Her Highness, helping her back to her feet, with the Emperor smiling warmly and thanking Byleth's mother. Witnessing Sitri act so tentatively towards her enemy causes Rhea to go berserk, transforming into the Immaculate One as she rampages across the battlefield, firing off in all directions and lashing out wildly, with the Empire, Kingdom, Alliance and Knights of Seiros being cut to pieces. Edelgard tries to subdue Rhea by sending various demonic beasts to attack the Archbishop. However, they mean little to an infuriated Seiros, and so Edelgard signals for the Empire to retreat. Elsewhere, Claude has already begun to pull his troops out. In the process of doing so, his eyes catch sight upon a strange group of people who are off to the sidelines from where the demonic beasts emerge. He catches a glimpse of a strange man commanding these monsters, with pale white skin and pupilless eyes, similar in appearance to that of Kronya and Solon, a factor that will nag at the leader of the Alliance for the next 5 years. Setheth hears the commotion outside and tells Flame to stay put as he goes to investigate. Once he emerges from the monastery, he watches in horror as Rhea turns Garrick Mark into the very image of hell itself. Fire and destruction cover every inch of the battlefield, and though this is putting the Empire on the back foot, the death toll on all sides is becoming catastrophic. For the first time in Setheth's life, he looks at Seiros not with concern, contempt or bewilderment, but fear. Dimitri stays put and observes the unfolding chaos, a mixture of both shock and glee racing through his mind as his fellow students urge him to fall back. Their pleas fall on deaf ears until Rhea's onslaught begins to make its way in his direction. The Blue Lions are able to retreat in time, just barely escaping with their lives due to Dimitri's fixation. As the Empire is withdrawing, Rhea spots Edelgard falling back alongside Sitri and aims a blast towards them. Byleth notices the Immaculate One's positioning and bolts towards Edelgard and her mother, striking Rhea with the Sword of the Creator. This blow causes Rhea's attack to go off balance and hit the surrounding area near Byleth, knocking the professor off their feet and sending them into a nearby ravine. Edelgard gasps as the Enlightened One is consumed by the gaping darkness, with Sitri desperately calling out to her daughter as everything turns black. And that's the end of that chapter, everyone. Join us next time as we head 5 years into the future and see what's become of Fodlan. Gonna go off script here, so bear with me, but thank you all so much for making this video possible with all the likes and stuff like that. I very much appreciated it. I'm so glad you want to see the rest of this fan fiction. Never knew this type of video thing would resonate with people, but I'm so delightful to just try this stuff out and see how it goes. So thank you. I hope the next video doesn't take 5 years to make. A huge thank you to all the voice actors for all their work. They really do help bring this to life with their amazing performances. So big thank you to Maggie Chatter, TheKingBahamut, Degenerate Peach, Mystic Blue 484, Goosephone, Savior Dragon for the Win, Shadow Ryuga, Mari Sky VA, and Lisa Lavi. Please follow all their links in the description to show them support because they did an incredible job, and thank you all so much. If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing as well, and don't forget to follow me on the likes of Twitch, Discord and Twitter, as well as Patreon to help make these videos possible, help to improve their quality, get them out faster, and receive additional bonuses for doing so. On that note, I would like to say the biggest of thank you to all my patrons who help make these videos possible with all the support, feedback, and all the stuff we do in the server. Thank you all so much. I'm sorry this one took a while. You know the status as to why and what happened, but I'm glad it turned out amazingly. It wouldn't have been possible without all your support throughout this entire time. And even though things seem to be getting, harder, more confusing, and more uncertain as each day passes, I'm just so glad that we've got all of you to make these videos possible, make this community amazing, and just make life that much brighter because you're all just amazing and wonderful. Mwah. Thank you all so much. And I would like to say a very special thank you to Wolffox, Lucina21, Glentrog750, Jeremy Redinger, Chaos Saberlight, VC Videos 100, Starship 9, Maggie Fall, Fodlan 392, Daniel Hodgson, Isaac A. Flores, and Zenny Dragon. Thank you all so much. I really do love you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. Mwah. Thank you. Anyway, that's it from me. I'll see you all next time.